one. I forgot to press save. It's my fault again. Sorry, everyone. But we're back. We're back. Is everyone here? I hope everyone's here. Okay, it should be on the main channel now because I screwed up before. Sorry. Look at my ukulele, but I don't know where it's gone. Oh, it's over there. Why is it all the way over there? Hello everyone, ask me questions, I will answer. I'm going to be here for a full hour until 10 o'clock. I do still have the little crochet Wednesday that your friend made me. It's on the back of my sofa, I believe, over there. Seriously, sirens every time. I don't know if the sirens are always going on, and because I'm not on camera, I just don't notice, or if it's whenever I turn my camera on, or I'm doing a live show, or doing a video, that suddenly a million sirens go past. I'm not entirely sure. Thank you, Rebecca Beckery. That is very sweet of you. I haven't picked out a dress for the What's on Stage Awards yet. Thank you very much, CB. Thank you for the person who just gave me 100 bars. I don't know, I can't pronounce your name, I'm so sorry. That door keeps closing slightly and scaring the crap out of me. I know, I still haven't seen Greatest Showman. I'm sorry. I'll try and see it soon. My red dress from Singapore was from Topshop, but the Topshop on Oxford Street with the like boutique-y bit downstairs, and they have loads of different brands. I can't remember what brand it's from though, but it was from Topshop. Go to bed, Rebecca. It was lovely to have you here, even just for a few minutes. Will you miss living with someone when Scott goes home? Yeah, I will. I'm going to have to get people over all the time. Yeah. My new favourite Lush product is a scrubby and a cherryish scrub. In fact, it's the cherryish scrub. They are amazing. I'm obsessed with the cherryish scrub. I think it's part of their new vegan, like Valentine's range. I'm obsessed. What's the next show I'm planning on seeing? I'm planning on seeing Eugenius next week, which I'm very excited about. Because my friends Scott, Cameron, Jacob, Dan, and Alex are all in that show. So I'm very excited to go and see them in that. Someone just said, how did you get your first book published? Did you just give the finished copy to a publisher? No, it's a lot more complicated than that. So my first book was a non-fiction book, which started off as a blog, and the blog was sort of an extension of my YouTube channel. So I'd written about 14 to 16,000 words on the blog already in like blog format. And then my sister-in-law's book agent, approached me and said, had I ever thought about turning it into a book, because she thought it'd be a really good sort of self-help type book for teenagers. And I said that had always been sort of the plan, to eventually take all of the blogs that I'd written and condense it and adapt it into a book. And so we got together a submission, which is usually about 20,000 words of the book or novel, a cover letter, a full outline and synopsis of what the book is going to be eventually, past those 20,000 words that you submit. And in the cover letter, you just need to tell them who you are and what you're aiming to do with your book, and like what you would like the book to achieve, and who you are outside of the book. And in my case, that was put up for submission. I sent to lots of different publishers. 2 came back and said that they liked it and would like to have a meeting. I met with both of those publishers, but only one offered for the book. Only one offered to take the book on, which was Little Brown, who I'm still with now for fiction as well, and they are great, and I like them a lot. Currently, I'm still reading this. I'm reading The Desire for Elsewhere by Agnes. It's a book that I bought in a bookshop in Singapore, and I think you can only buy it in that shop, because that bookshop has its own publishing quarters called Math Paper Press, and they make a point of publishing books by Singaporean writers. So that's what I'm reading right now, but I've kind of taken a brief pause on reading it because I need to finish my own book, which is what I'm going to be doing once I leave you lovely people. How many books do I want to write? Ooh, I have no idea. As many as I can in my lifetime. I don't know. I don't know. I'm not going to stop writing. But I don't know. Just depends on what happens in the future. How old am I? I am 25 years old. If you weren't acting, what would you want to do? Well, I'm very lucky that if, acting died on its arse for me tomorrow, I still have writing and YouTube, I guess. And singing as well. I've got an album coming out in March, and concerts and stuff coming up. So there's I'd still find ways to be busy if acting didn't continue past now. But I hope it carries on, because that's what I really want to do with my life. Oh, please say hello to Katie for me. Yeah. I miss the Addams family. I just miss the Addams family, I guess. Oh, I'd love to cover Shadowland, but I fear me covering Shadowland, we'd end up with the same thing that happened when I covered Burn, which was outrage and horror from everyone. Even though that song's sung from the point of view of a lion, I'm sure people would still be angry about it if I covered it. But what can you do? Best type of tea? I'm going to have to say English breakfast. I do love an English breakfast tea. Do you have a signature meal that you make? I've become very good at omelettes recently. I'm quite the omelette maker now. I don't know, I wouldn't say meal. Scott thinks I should open a pasta shop. Because he just loves my pasta. And that's kind of all I ever make him here. My album is going to be available worldwide in March. It will be available on iTunes, digital download, as a digital download. And I believe there will be physical copies, I think, available worldwide in March. Happy birthday for Tuesday, Chelsea. I hope you have a lovely day. I can't speak today. I'm just saying gibberish. Just noise is coming out in some configuration. Do you suffer with anxiety, and how does it show itself in your life? I never used to be an anxious person at all. I used to be like really extroverted. I used to really love seeing people and going out and talking to people and meeting new people. But I think ever since my professional career has demanded that I do a lot of that. Because before it used to be like my choice. Like if I wanted to go to a party, then it was, you know, my choice to go to that party. And if I wanted to put myself in a position where I was going to be like the centre of attention, or if I was going to be meeting lots of people, it was my choice to be there. But now my profession demands that I do it when it's not my choice, but every day. And my career puts me in a position where I have to do it whether I like it or not. All of a sudden, it's made me quite anxious. Not in everyday life, but when it comes to things like stage door or meet and greets and stuff like that. Like the lead up to going to stage door makes me very anxious now. Like as soon as I come off stage, all I'm thinking about is how do I get out of this building? Like how do I even if I'm going via stage door, I have to sort of give myself like a really big run up to it and sort of start thinking, right, if someone asks me this question, this is what I'm going to say. And if someone says this, what's my response going to be? And what if someone, you know, tries to take a picture with me without asking? And what if, you know, and I suddenly start planning ahead and making myself worry, which it's not fun. Any advice for stage manager? That's really interesting because obviously I know little about being a stage manager because I'm not one. The only experience I have is working with one as an actress. And I guess it's hard when you're in a bit like a position to be a stage manager because you've got to have like that air of authority. You need people to respect you so they listen to what you're saying. But at the same time, you also want to strike up a rapport with all of the actors and, you know, be friendly and chat and stuff. We had a great stage manager at Addams Family called Matt Harper. He was great. We all loved him. And yeah, he was really good at sort of like asserting authority and telling you to shut up if you were being too loud, or making sure everyone was safe and telling you to sort of move out the way of set pieces and stuff. But he was also like, we'd all go for drinks at the weekend and like after shows and stuff, and we all thought he was amazing. And it was only really until Singapore that we properly hung out, which was a shame because that was like near the end of the tour. But he's great. Thank you very much, Carissa Amelia Mackenzie? Charissa? I'm really sorry for pronouncing that wrong, but thank you. God, these questions are going so fast. Any regret about not going to drama school? No, because everything sort of worked out well. I'll never regret the decisions that I've made, because it's led me to here, and I like here. Here is good. But obviously, I think had I been given the option to go to drama school back in the day, I would have taken it. I definitely wouldn't have turned it down. And I'm sure good would have come of that decision as well. You know, I think either way, good would have come from it. But I'll never regret the decision to leave education and do what I did. Someone said, how do you actually pronounce pronunciation? The word pronunciation doesn't have an O after the first N. It's just a U, which makes it pronunciation, not pronunciation. So the word pronounce has Nounce, but pronunciation is just Nunciation. Are you content with your life, or do you ever feel like something is missing or want more? That's a big question. I'm content with my life. Like, I'm happy. I'm happy with what I have and who I am and the people around me. I guess everyone has moments where they kind of evaluate their life and think, you know, look back at times and go, oh, what if I'd done that? Would I have this now? Or if I had done that, would, you know, people sort of rethink their life choices and wonder what would have happened if they'd done something different. But I'm happy where I am. Someone keeps asking, how did you get an agent, seeing you didn't go to drama school? That is a question I've answered a lot. If you go back to my other live streams, I definitely have mentioned that before. And there's also a video, I couldn't think of the word then, a video that I did called Privilege and Insecurity, where I'm pretty sure I give a rundown on my entire timeline of how things have happened for me over the years. The mug I'm using tonight says, do more of what makes you happy. It's a mug I've had for a very long time. What animal would you want as your spirit guide, like Miguel and Coco? Interesting question. Probably a bat. I say probably, definitely a bat. A bat is also my Patronus, so I feel like I should be consistent. Tom did go to stage school, yes. He went to Sylvia Young's theatre school. Oh my God, so sorry about that. That was a little rose quartz ball that I dropped on the table. Yeah, he went to Sylvia Young's theatre school. But then he went to a normal college for like a month and then left because he auditioned for Busted but got into McFly. Thank you, Evan D. Thank you, Dead Poet Post. I'm not singing anywhere the week of February 19th, I'm afraid. But I hope you have a wonderful time in London. Exciting news, guys, I'm about 6,000 words away from finishing my book. Hooray, hooray, hooray! Hooray, hooray. I didn't do my A-levels. I am also a college dropout, just like my brother. I went to college for a month, sixth form for a month, and I already knew that I was going to be leaving, but because I went to a private school and I didn't tell them in time that I was going to be leaving, they said I was still going to have to pay for that month, that term. So I said, seeing as I'm paying for that term anyway, can I come in and do 2 lessons? Can I just come in and do art and English literature? And they were like, yeah, fine. So I went and did a term and then left at Christmas. yeah, I'm going to celebrate hard when this book is done. Hard. And it's nice because I've got Scott and Oliver here next week, so I'm definitely going to have to celebrate with the two of them. And it's Scott's press night on Wednesday as well, so we can have like a big night celebrating everything all at once. Yay. Do I miss being on stage at weeks like this? No. It's hard because I'm really appreciating having this time off. I say off, I'm still working, but I'm appreciating having time to work on just one thing without doing everything else. Really appreciating that. So whilst I do miss being in a show, I'm happy not being in one right now. I don't think people realise just how difficult it is to finish one show on a Friday and then start rehearsing for the next one on a Monday. Like, it's so tough. So when I was in Les Mis, I did a year in Les Mis, so June to June, and then I went June to November. On November 10th, I finished Les Mis, and then on November 12th, I started rehearsals for War of the Worlds. I finished War of the Worlds on December 20th, and started back at Les Mis on December 22nd for the Christmas week. Then I finished Les Mis on the 13th of February 2016, and started rehearsals for Chitty in March? Maybe April. Maybe end of March. I started in the next month, so I had 2 weeks. Did I have 2 weeks? I had 4 weeks. I had a month, because I did 2 weeks off and then 2 weeks in Florida, and then I started back in Chitty. I finished Chitty and went in October, and went straight into rehearsals for Les Mis Dubai. Finished Les Mis Dubai on the 3rd of December, and then immediately started rehearsals for the Christmas Carol, which we did on December 19th. Then this was the biggest break I had between Christmas Carol and Addams Family. I had January, February off, and then March 13th we started for the Addams Family, and then finished the Addams Family on, came back from Singapore on December the 15th, and so I landed at 5:30 in the morning, and I started rehearsals for the Christmas Carol at 10, on the same day. Landed at 5:30, went to rehearsals at 10. That was a tough day. My God. So, and in between that, wrote 3 books. So, life is, it's really hard when you finish a job and then start a new one immediately. You kind of feel like you're on a hamster wheel, and you're just constantly going from one job to another. So it's nice when you have moments like this, little breathing space where you go, real person, not a robot. Just take a breath. Everything's going to be okay. Breathe. You are a human. And no, I don't miss the white face paint. Everything's still covered in it. This is my camera, and this handle of the camera is still covered in white paint. How do you cope with / avoid tiredness when you're really busy? if I ever figure that out, I'll let you know. Hi, Adam. My friend Adam Hatton's watching. Everyone say hi to Adam. You're such a happy, bubbly person. Do you keep your down days private from your fans? Yeah, every now and again I'll tweet that I'm not having the best day, and everyone's really lovely about it. But yeah, I mean, no one really, if someone's having like a bad day, they're never really in the mood to pick up a camera anyway. So those days are usually the ones that are kept private. And also my YouTube channel is my happy place as much as it's everyone else's happy place. You know, I like to make videos when I'm in the mood to make videos, and when I'm feeling happy, and when I've got something to share that I'm feeling passionate about. So if I'm like having a crap day, that's never really the time that I'm gonna pick up the camera. This t-shirt, it's ended up with holes in it now. It's a very old t-shirt from Primark, amazingly. There are holes in it, I just don't know where. Oh, there they are. Yeah, it's got a hole in it now. These questions are moving so fast. Thank you, Carrie. Ah, Carrie with the shoes. Hi. I just saw your message that said, don't be afraid to wear the shoes. I can't wear the shoes. They are purely for decoration. Can't wear the shoes. Don't be silly. I'd find a way to ruin them, and I don't want that. So... Have you had any auditions lately? I had to do a self-tape the other day and send that off, but not going to tell you what it's for, because if you don't get it, that's really embarrassing. I hate telling people when I have auditions, like especially before I do them, because then suddenly I get a flurry of people being like, good luck, I hope it goes well, and I'm like, ooh, I'm nervous enough, don't put pressure on me. I currently have a big green bruise forming. From falling over, walking out of Greg's. Oh, what's the worst injury you've had over your career? I mean, the worst injury is probably my back. I know I go on about it all the time. I fell over a small child in Chitty and hurt my back, and that was like 2 years ago. Well, all coming up to 2 years ago, and my back is still really, really painful. I'm going to see a chiropractor. I've got bruises on my arm, and I don't even know what they're from. I fell over in Les Mis really badly, and bruised my knees and my shins. There's a picture of that somewhere on my Instagram. That was really painful. My ankles were kicked out from underneath me and just went straight over on my knees and my shins. That was really, really painful. I always end up like cut and bruised and stuff in shows, because I never thought I was clumsy until I had to really coordinate myself and be in a show. As an adult, I never used to be this clumsy as a child, but I'm just constantly covered in bruises and cuts, and never know how. Thank you, Talia. I never know how I end up covered in injuries, but I'm really good at that apparently. Would you rather be covered in Eponine's dirt or Wednesday's white paint? It's a really good question. Probably Wednesday's paint, because the dirt, like when you're in everyday life and you're still covered in Eponine's dirt, you look dirty. You look like you've not washed in about 6 weeks. Whereas when you're in Wednesday's white paint, at least if you've got like white around the edges of your face, someone can easily just be like, oh, well, clearly you've just had your face painted today for some strange reason. But so I'd rather people thinking that I, had face paint on at some point during the day than thinking I just don't wash. The blood was grim. But because that was like just to one localized area, it was easier to get off. Like you knew when all of it had gone. But the dirt, I literally had to just cover my arms, my chest, my face, and my legs in it. So when I had a shower in the theatre, I'd often just miss bits. Someone said what made me decide to support Girl Guiding. I was sent one of these patches a while ago with a really lovely letter that said I'd been chosen as a voice for girls across the UK. And they'd sent me these patches as like a little thank you. And from there I just kind of wanted to get involved and work with Girl Guiding and see what I could do to help. And so when I came up with the idea to raise money for some charities, Girl Guiding was at the top of my list. And did I shower between Eponine's death and taking Valjean away? I did, yeah. Sometimes I couldn't be bothered and I was like, I'll just wait until I'm home and I'll just wet wipe everything. Because basically when Eponine comes back as a ghost at the end, she has to be clean. So I'd usually go and have a shower because there's like 25 minutes between coming off from the death and doing the epilogue, taking Valjean away at the end. Yeah. Sometimes I just couldn't be bothered, so I'd wet wipe, wash. I'd just wet wipe all the mud off, and then I'd just shower when I got home. Would I rather perform in Singapore or Dubai again? Singapore. I loved Singapore. So many questions. Thank you, Thopoa. I'm sorry if I pronounced that wrong, but thank you very much. It's very sweet of you. And Mimsy too, thank you very much. These questions are moving so fast. Ooh, tips for vocal health as I'm doing amateur Addams. I lost it. Amateur Addams is Wednesday. Drink water, warm up properly. Make sure you severely warm up before a show. And sleep. Water and sleep are the two that I always think are underestimated, but make such a huge amount of difference. How do you decide the names of characters in your books? I don't know. Just, I mean, the other day was the first time I had to come up with a name and because it's a character that's in 1952, I had to research what popular names were around then and what would have been appropriate to be called. But for the most part, it's just names that I think sound nice. There's no sort of logic to it. It's just names that, usually names that feel like warm. For the nice characters, of course. Usually I'd give something rather spiky to the mean characters. Or haughty. I like a haughty name. I am a cat person. I love dogs. I grew up with dogs. But I love cats. I'll always be a cat person, sorry. Would you name your kids after any of your book characters? I mean, I don't know. Let's wait till I have kids and find out. I do miss video responses quite a lot. Bye, Adam. Yeah, I used to love video responses, and I used to love making video responses to other people that I really liked, and if I had something else to add to a conversation, I loved seeing other people make videos and reply to things that I had said. Kind of sucks that YouTube got rid of that, but they have their reasons for the weird decisions they make. Thank you, Laura W. Do you have old school friends still, and what do they think of your success? Yeah, I still have friends from school. Vicky Martinelli, Saffron Manning, Hannah Fraser, Lizzie Newbury. And I mean, I don't think, thank you very much, Teresa Beale. I don't really think they think about it. Like, I'm still just the girl from school to them who liked to sing and was always in the art department or the music rooms. Like, to them, I'm just Carrie, which is nice. If anyone's watching on YouTube, you can come over to YouNow if you want to. It's just younow.com/CarrieHFletcher. That's where I'm answering all of the questions. So your questions are most likely to be answered if you come over to YouNow. Again, younow.com/CarrieHFletcher. Thank you, Trixia Gaming. What was the procedure whenever Chitty didn't work or malfunction in both the UK... Oh, God. In the UK tour and West End production, Chitty Bang Bang? I can't really remember from when I was a child. Because it was usually up to the adults just to tell us where to go and what to do. But as an adult, when I was in the show in the UK tour, if we were in the car and it didn't move the way it was supposed to move, either we would wait for someone in the wings to sort of signal to us that the show was going to pause, and if we were in the car, we would just wait for the curtain to come down and an announcement would go off, and then we would get out of the car and go into the wings and just wait until we were told what to do. If we weren't in the car, there was a point where we were in the car, finished the song, we got out of the car to start the next scene, and then the announcement went off before the curtain had come down, so we just had to like sort of filler act until the curtain came in. That was kind of embarrassing. It didn't happen often. It worked more often than it didn't work, but there were a few occasions where it didn't work and it was slightly awkward. The previous live streams will be on YouTube. They will be on my second channel. They are already over there. I just forget to unlist them. I forget to list them, essentially, because they automatically go up to my channel unlisted, and I just forget to log in and make them public. So I will do that after this live stream. Apologies. Yes, I have a second channel called 2032. In Wimbledon and Chitty, were the people from the backstage crew supposed to visibly take Truly's motorbike on and off stage? So the problem with some theatres, when you've got a thing like a motorbike that's on a track, sometimes the wings are really big and open, and when they're that big, when the motorbike when a set piece has to be put onto a track in the wings, it's going to be visible by a portion of the audience, because if the wings are that open that the audience members can literally just see into it, and you need to be doing work in the wings, the audience are just going to see it, and you just have to not let it worry you, because they're going to see you and you just need to accept that. So yeah, I had to get on and off the motorbike in the wings with like that much of the audience being able to see me. Thank you, Jack P. And also the motorbike had to be turned around. So if I was going from like right to left, the motorbike was facing that way. So then if I had to get back across the other side, the motorbike had to be picked up, turned around and put on the track facing that way. And if you had to do that in the wings where parts of the wings were visible, you were just going to be seen. So you just had to deal with it. Confidence tips for being put in costumes you think you have the wrong body type for. Yeah, that's an interesting question, because sometimes you're put in things that you think, I look like an absolute knob. And everyone's like, no, you don't, you look fine, you look great. And anyway, it's for the character. And you're like, yeah. It's hard because you end up feeling not confident. And that then sort of makes an impact on your performance. But it's one of those things where you've just got to think, right, my character would wear this and I am my character, therefore it doesn't matter, whatever. And you just have to get on with it and hope that your acting and portrayal of the role speaks more than your arse in those jeans does. Yeah, I had this pink corduroy suit that I had to wear for Truly, and thank you, Leonore S. And I just didn't like it. Honestly, I felt like I looked like a massive penis, like an actual penis. Bright pink corduroy suit, and they were like jodhpurs, so when you get down to my legs, it went out like that. So I looked like a cock and balls. That's what I always said that I looked like, and it used to make Scott laugh a lot. Sorry, but that's what I thought I looked like. And it's just one of those things where I just had to get on with it. I was like, I look really stupid, but it's what Trudy Scrumptious would wear, so I just have to get on with it. It's fine. Don't worry about it. Don't think about it. Just act and sing to the best of your ability and get it off as soon as this scene's over. I haven't listened to the Eugenia soundtrack yet, and I don't really want to until I go and see the show. I'm really looking forward to seeing the show. When did you change your YouTube name? Sometime last year, maybe, like, I don't know, September last year? Is it true that eating chocolate before singing makes your voice sound weird? People just tend to avoid dairy and chocolate mainly before a performance because it's claggy and it's sort of, thank you Claire R, and it makes you, it kind of sits on your vocal cords, which just makes it hard to sing. And we have this thing called chocolate voice. Some people call it cheese voice, because cheese and chocolate, they're both like dairy products that do the same thing and they sit on your vocal cords. It likes to do that, likes to sound like that. And sometimes, like, your vocal cords clag up and you end up sounding like that. Thank you, Sam Van S. Sam Van S. So yeah, we call it chocolate voice. Why did you change your YouTube name? I changed it just because I felt like I'm Carrie Hope Fletcher or Carrie H Fletcher on everything else, and so it just felt more mature, and I felt now that I'm a 25-year-old instead of the 18-year-old that set up the YouTube channel, I just felt like it was time. Does drinking alcohol make your voice sound weird? Not like before a performance. If you go out and get drunk the night before and you wake up hungover, I mean, it just affects your whole body, but it does affect your voice. You end up sounding sort of like gruff. So, yeah. But sometimes people don't heed that advice and go out and get very, very drunk before a performance anyway. And by some people, sometimes I mean me. Worst time you were hungover. Is this a story that I share? I don't know. There was one performance in Southampton where I can't remember why we went out. There was a reason. It was someone's birthday, I think. I can't remember the reason, but Oliver had a friend called Aaron Blair come to Southampton and watch the show. And it was just, in fact, I don't think there was an occasion. I think it was just one of those nights where it was a Saturday night. So we all went to this place called the Vestry opposite the Mayflower in Southampton. That's the name of the theatre there, right? And it was just one of those things where there was a Robbie Williams tribute act singing, and we were all singing really loud as a cast, and we were going crazy, and it just went to one of those things where like, should we go get a drink somewhere else? Should we move on? And we ended up moving on, and then we ended up moving on, and then we ended up moving on, until it was like 4 o'clock in the morning, and we were like, yeah, maybe now it's time to go to bed. And the next day we only had one show, but it was a matinee. And it was the only time in the tour I think that happened, where we had a matinee on the Sunday and then the evening off. And I've got an amazing picture of Oliver sat in my dressing room like this. He's got a coffee in front of him and he's looking terrible. And I felt awful as well. And I was like, if I can get through this show, I'm